Evening, people. Welcome to Football with Brownie. I hope you're all well, keeping safe, keeping each other safe, and spreading the love during this pandemic. Now, it's a special show today because a certain little girl needs everybody's love. Now, normally I'd go on and say like, share, blah, blah, blah. But to be honest, this show is not about me. It's about a little girl who's suffering at the moment and she needs everybody's help. Now, on the banner underneath, we have a PayPal account in which you can donate if you want. If it's hard times for everybody, if you can't donate, then please share and spread the word, and hopefully you can convince others to donate. Frankie, I think it's best you take over this part and explain everybody about the actual campaign and your objectives, and then everybody, can hopefully join in and help a little girl out.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. So, obviously, Isla's had this battle that she's been going on for a long time, for many years now. We've already raised significant amounts to help her on the journey that she's been on, and it looked like we was winning the war, to be quite honest with you, and things were looking good. She seemed to be coming out the other side, which was amazing. And then things started to take a bit of a turn again towards the end of last year. Luckily that there were some things that could be done on the NHS, so we didn't need to raise any funds at that point in time because the NHS were helping, but unfortunately we're at the end of the road with what the NHS can do for her now. And she needs to go abroad to get treatment. That obviously costs money, and we need to support her to be able to give her the funds to be able to do that. So that's why Isla's Army has been basically come to life, really. It was Claret and Blue Army TV. Myself and Baz, to be quite honest with you, we saw many people who had YouTube channels, who have Patreons, and have people willing to pay for content. And we always said that was never going to be for us. We don't believe that people should pay for what two average Joes have to say on the internet. It's just not, it's a difference when some people want to donate because they feel like you're doing a good thing and they enjoy it. It's a completely different thing when you feel like you're adding some sort of value or to people's lives. That's where the barrier becomes a little bit different for me. So the people are willing to pay the money for that in these difficult times. That's what sparked really the birth of Isla's Army, and us saying, look, if people can afford, because mate, it's so difficult. The family don't want to ask in these times. We don't want to ask in these times because we know people are really struggling out there. However, if people can afford to pay £3, £5 a month to get some inside information in football, then I'm sure we can do the same for Isla and help change a life and hopefully help her on this journey that she's on, because she's so brave, mate, and she deserves everything that she can get.
Yeah, I know. How old is she, Frank?
So I believe she's 6 now, mate.
Oh, geez, because I tried to get Danny Dabadon to come on because I think you done like a charity football match, didn't you, with a lot of the old West Ham players and all the fans and so on.
Mate, up until this point, there have been some incredible stories. We've had football matches with celebrities and ex-legends, which were fantastic. We had a Millwall fan who raised tens of thousands of pounds, who wore a West Ham shirt into the Millwall football stadium. Cancer has no colours, mate. At the end of the day,
completely agree.
It goes far beyond football. It is so much bigger than that. And how people got involved in the past was incredible. But Isla had momentum. She had people supporting and backing her, and really sort of, Baz was up and down the country, mate. Wherever he went, he was there. West Ham, home and away. He was there with his bucket. He drove to every single game, the length of the country, to stand outside with that bucket and raise funds. And that was a brilliant method of fundraising because people were there. You can go in there and you can spend £3, £5 on a pint, whatever. We'll just chuck some change in the bucket. So that was fantastic. We don't have that this time round, so it's a lot more difficult to raise those funds. So through the platform that we had and the amount of people who used to watch our content, we just felt that was a fantastic opportunity to raise awareness through that, to monetize that and try and give every penny that comes into that channel to Isla. So if we do manage to get to over 1,000 subscribers, which hopefully everyone can go over to Isla Caton's Claret and Blue Army on YouTube and subscribe, any money that can be generated through that channel goes directly to Isla, and all donations, all Patreons, all, you know, just random donations that come in, me and Baz will never ever see a penny of any of that. Every single bit will go to Isla.
I bet her parents are going through hell.
Mate,
I bet her
can't
parents are going through
even.
hell.
And this is the thing, you know. I can't even imagine. Sorry, I'm not
Yeah,
not
no.
paying attention. What I'm doing is
No,
I'm
no,
tweeting.
no
I'm
problem.
tweeting this video out onto the account on Isla's Army,
Okay.
so we can get
Yeah,
loads of
yeah.
people in and try and build a massive viewer base. So, but yeah, you know, as a parent, mate, even watching some of the videos that you see, and this is what we have to be careful of. There is a reality of the situation. However, some people find that really, really difficult. And Baz has been in tears before. I've seen lots of people break down through watching it and seeing the videos and being in tears and so on. Now, it is sad and there is a harsh reality to what's going on. However, I understand that people find that quite difficult viewing. So we're trying to, at the start of every single video, is all about entertainment. It's about value. It's about having fun. It's about all the happy side. And when we come to the end of the videos, we then show the reality side. And if people want to log off at that point because they find it difficult, it's not because they're not understanding the situation. It's hard for anybody to see. So that comes at the end. And if people want to switch off at that point, they're more than welcome to, because I understand how difficult it is to see what she's having to go through. However, we do want to make this fun. We want to there's huge things coming up, which we'll get onto throughout the video.
Yeah, okay.
But, you know, we want to raise as much money as possible for auctions, through raffles. I've just been sent a Paolo Di Canio signed magazine from West Ham. It looks absolutely fantastic. We're going to have that framed. We'll raffle that off. There's already been some raffles that have gone out as well. So we want to have fun while doing it as well, and we want to entertain while doing it, and that's really important to build the momentum. It can't be all doom and gloom. We've got to enjoy the fundraising side of it as well.
Yeah, no, I agree. If I can help, you know, please pick a phone up, and then we take it from there.
Thank you very much,
What's the time frame? What's the time frame, Frankie? You know, with regarding her needing a treatment, and
it's very difficult because obviously, you know, we don't know what treatments are going to work. There's a number of options that are available at this point. At this point, all we know is the NHS aren't prepared to help anymore. We've got 2 more months left of chemotherapy through the NHS. And then after that, we need to go and find something else. So that's only going to be maintaining what's happening at the moment. And then we need to go out and start fighting and seeing if we can get something that can obviously defeat what's going on. So, yeah, at that point, we need to... So we've got 2 months, really, to raise as much money as possible. And that's the difficult thing. That sounds quite ignorant to say we need as much money as possible. However, that is the reality of the situation. We don't know whether Spain will be the option. We don't know whether it will be America. She's been to both of those countries before and had treatments. At this point in time, there are a number of options. And to be quite frank, those options will be limited by what's in the pot. Yeah. If we can afford to go to Spain it will be. If we've got enough to go to America, whatever it may be. However, it's very hard to sit there and say what option's the right one when you don't know what you're working with. So we need to just get on it. We've just had an email come through saying we're in the top 5% of all fundraisers in the Bradley Lowry Foundation for last month. We only started this last month. So for us to have got to that level is outstanding. So we're over the moon, and momentum's building, and lots of other people are jumping on the back of this now. It's not about ego. It's not about us doing the role. It's about everyone getting involved. We've always said that channel is for everyone. If someone is doing a fundraiser and wants to use the channel, use it. If people don't know how to go about fundraising, but they've got items in their home of memorabilia that they think people will be interested in, we'll do the fundraising part of it for them. If people want to come on and do stuff on the video and entertain with us, more than welcome. It is, and if people want to use the logos, it's been amazing. across Twitter, all you see is Isla's Army logos everywhere now. It's fantastic. We see on one of my YouTube, one of my Twitter accounts, you see the retweets from some of the tweets, and every single person is using her logo as their profile picture. It's amazing, mate, to see. It's really, really cool.
So you want even Cardiff memorabilia?
Absolutely, mate.
What?
Absolutely. For
Jeez,
sure.
No
For
worries.
sure.
No worries. Well, the Swansea memorabilia would normally go in a bin, so I'm sure that any Swansea fans.
Memorabilia.
Yeah.
They haven't had any moments to create memorabilia from, have they?
Oh, I tell you, no comment. I don't want to go down that avenue. I've had enough stick so far after the appointment of Mick McCarthy.
I remember back in the day, walking through, we lost in a cup game to Coventry, and my cousin was a mascot, and we got beat, and I can't remember whether it was Glenn Roeder who we had in charge at that point in time, or whether it was... I'm sure it was Glenn Roeder. It was either Glenn Roeder or Avram Grant. And we lost that game. And I remember at that point in time, we was heavily linked with Mick McCarthy. He was the number one contender for the job who was going to come into West Ham. And at that point in time, mate, it was so bad, we all actually would have been quite happy with Mick McCarthy. So that was a long time ago, though, mate. That must have been about 10 years ago now. So
I think I'm going back in time with Mick McCarthy being in charge of my club, to be honest. No, but well done. Hey, Frankie, well done to Baz as well. And all the campaign people behind the campaign. And see, if I can help, if this channel can help, this channel is a small channel, but sometimes it can reach out. Only needs to take a video or two.
Yeah,
and,
a small channel, but a channel that's growing, mate. You've had some
no comment.
really nice growth recently. It's really nice to see, mate, and you absolutely deserve
That's
it.
the help of you and Baz, let's be honest. That's the help of you and Baz.
I think at the end of the day, you're the person sitting here doing the videos and relentless with the amount of content that you put out at the moment. You jump on most big topics that come out there, and it's a pleasure to watch, mate. So I wouldn't say it's just for me. I think it's... absolutely justified, the growth that you're seeing, and give yourself a bit of credit, mate, because I enjoy watching it, so it's good.
You enjoy watching it for a laugh. Actually, were.
Mate, honestly, some of the previous videos on some of the hot topics that come out, it's been good, and it's a slightly different football community to what I'm used to seeing. So I see different people coming on, which is really good as well. So no, I've been enjoying watching the channel, mate. And
cheers, Frankie.
Good
Much
seeing
appreciated.
it grow from strength to strength, mate. So
okay, do you want a nicer topic in talking football?
Absolutely, let's go.
Yeah, no problem. West Ham. Now, what is your first game? Why West Ham? And tell me about it.
Well, I don't remember my first game because my dad took me when I was 2 years old and sat me in the South Bank at West Ham, and that was all. I was always told that was the first game that I ever went to. The first games that I remember was being a real sort of young lad taken with my uncle. Actually, the first games I went to were Charlton games because my uncle was his business used to sponsor Charlton Athletic. And where I used to live was literally 5 minutes from Charlton's stadium. So I used to go to a lot of Charlton games. However, my dad was always West Ham. It had been basically forced upon me that West Ham was my club. So even though I was going to Charlton, I was still a West Ham fan. But I just enjoyed football at that point in time, mate, to be honest with you.
That's fair enough.
I loved football. I loved all football. I used to sit there. As a youngster, West Ham was obviously my club, like I said, but I used to enjoy watching Newcastle. I had a real soft spot for Newcastle.
Were you talking mid-90s, you?
Yeah, so that was the times when they were doing well.
Yeah.
So I used to enjoy watching them. I was, just as a youngster, I used to play football from a very young age, played football from sort of 6 years old, and loved football, playing football myself. So where I was playing football, I didn't really get to go to... I didn't really get to go to the matches. Then as time went on, I sort of got to sort of 13 years of age, and my football career started to dwindle a little bit. I picked up an injury, And then I started to go to West Ham on a Saturday with my dad. And
Okay.
every Saturday you'd find us in the pub over West Ham, mate. And it all stemmed from there, I suppose.
Well, as you know, I'm a Cardiff fan, and I personally, I think there's so many similarities between our two clubs. You have the working class connection, which both clubs, were created upon. Really, you then go on, and you have financial issues. Both clubs go from financial issue to financial issue all the time. Both sets of supporters are struggling with the move to new stadiums. And also, in my opinion, before any Cardiff fan has a go at me, both clubs are owned by bastards, really, in my opinion. Um, you know, uh, and both owners are taking the option with regarding fan bases of divide and conquer, the old Thatcher kind of mindset, divide and
Hmm.
conquer. And so you have the fan bases fighting amongst each other.
Yeah.
And it's sad to see, really. It's sad to see, but definitely so many similarities between Cardiff City and West Ham, and not for the best of reasons. Frankie, would you believe? Would you agree?
No, I would agree with that. I think I've been to Ninian Park on a very cold winter's night, and the feeling and atmosphere that you got from that versus going to the new stadium, which I went to in your last season in the Premier League, was a massive contrast in just how
Yeah,
you felt just going to the game. I mean, I remember when I was sort of active in the football lad world, and I remember sort of going to Cardiff, but you didn't want to go too close to the town centre. You sort of stayed on the outskirts a little bit. You was a little bit
yeah,
cautious. You sort of made sure you had a few numbers around you. It was and there was that feeling of nervous feeling tension
yeah,
that you
yeah,
used to
yeah.
get from going to the football match
Nervous but
and
excited at the same
it,
time.
absolutely, mate. We
Yeah,
loved it, obviously, but that was that thing that you knew you're going to a proper game when you get that little bit of nervous but exciting feeling that you have running through you.
yeah,
The last time we went, mate, we was in the high street the night before, partying in the pubs, in the clubs, going wherever we wanted to go during the daytime. We completely took over the town centre bit there, and it was just totally different. I remember strolling to
yeah,
the ground, and there was just none of that. There was none of that feeling of, oh, this could be on top at any moment here. It was just like any other normal away day. And
yeah,
going to the ground, I didn't dislike the ground, mate. I thought the ground was all right. I think as far as modern football stadiums go, I didn't think it was too modernised. I felt like you could get a bit of atmosphere going there, and I thought it was all right. It's certainly not as bad as some of the other, like the Emirates is a Kazi, to be quite honest with you. The Emirates
okay.
is the worst football stadium I've ever been to. We're quickly second with the London Stadium, and
I,
there are some
I, I
areas.
hear that the players need an Uber from the dressing room to the pitch, yeah? At
Yeah.
yours?
It is like that, mate. But you walk through the shopping centre, you're not wanted there. You got stop go signs. You're not allowed to go through the shopping centre. You're marched around like animals around the outside of the ground. Just the whole experience from the moment you get there to getting into the ground and then being a million miles away from the pitch and then really struggling to get an atmosphere going because the way the stadium's designed.
Yeah,
And on the concourse during the winter, literally there is no solid structure to the outside of that stadium. It's basically mesh, so the wind just runs around the concourse. So it is, when I
okay.
say it's freezing, I mean it is freezing. It is there's just there's nothing pleasurable about going to the London Stadium. However, it is mildly better than the Emirates. But your ground wasn't as bad as that, and I thought it was okay.
The good thing about Cardiff's new ground is that it's in the same location. So you had the same pubs and same,
Yeah.
uh, you know, a, after and pre-game kind of atmosphere. But the problem was the council and police would only give the authorization of a new ground if the away end were next to the family section,
Hmm.
which as a result would dumb down the atmosphere,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that's the result. Also, the stadiums as well, I hate them. When it was Ninian Park, well, at the time it was 2, 3 sides were standing. Because of my work, and many other people as well, because of my work, I could decide whether I wanted to go to the game at 2 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon, go get a ticket, standing ticket, and have that guarantee that I can still stand by my friends all throughout the game. If I went now at 2 o'clock, I'll have a ticket. God knows who I'm going to be sitting next to. There's so many horrible issues with All-Seater Stadium, and I don't think they'll ever get around it. I think it's. I don't think club owners care anymore. As long as you buy the ticket, I don't think they care about the actual day out in which fans should be enjoying.
Safe standing has a massive place. The problem with safe standing is they won't want the type of people who will make the most of safe standing to be in there, because they won't want that section to become boisterous. They won't want people to become, in any way sort of characterful. It's almost like that's ripped away from football at the moment. We see it at West Ham, mate. They got rid of most fans. When we first moved into there, if anyone stood up, you'd be kicked out and given a lifelong ban. And they were saying it was because we could add in another 5,000 seats if people behave themselves. Well, it's funny now, after everyone started behaving themselves and we didn't have an incident for a whole year, we still didn't open that amount of seats. It was all an excuse. It was a perfect way to say, come in, if you stand up, you get kicked out. It was the perfect way to eject the people from the club that they no longer wanted at West Ham United. It was a cleansing process. That's what it was. It was a cleansing process.
Like Cardiff. Exactly like Cardiff. In my opinion, that change from blue to red, the home colour, was a cleansing process. Exactly. Because they knew the older, more experienced, and more set in a way type of fan were always going to be the fans which could be boisterous and cause issues. The new fans coming up, they just wanted Premier League football.
What they failed to understand, and what West Ham haven't struggled with, but I don't know whether Cardiff will have, but it'll be interesting to hear your point of view on it, is that those type of fans are your hardcore loyal, go anywhere no matter what's going on. It don't matter if you're in the Championship, League One, don't matter if you was in dire straits, they would still turn up week in, week out and be there. Now you want this fair weather, modern day type football fan. When the going gets tough, they won't be there anymore. So obviously you're going through tougher times at the moment, and I know many fans who have said they will never go back in that stadium until our existing owners are gone from the club.
Well, I was saying
exactly the same, and that's it, mate. But they were the people that when we used to get relegated, because West Ham used to happen to frequently, we would still have 31, 32, 33, 34,000 every week. Well, if it happened this time round, you wouldn't see the same. And that is because they've alienated so many of that loyal, hardcore fan who used to turn up week in, week out, no matter what was happening. Those sort of touristy, fair weather fans who go to just watch Premier League football and enjoy the good times, when the going gets tough, mate, you'll soon see them turn their back and they won't spend their cash anymore. Whereas we've always been there. So I think, it's all right at the moment while West Ham's doing well and flying high and everything else. But if the going ever got tough, I think they'd get a harsh reality check, mate.
Do you think they'll ever go? Is it all about whether they can get by the stadium and then that's it?
That's
then
always been the plan. Mate, it's the most prime real estate in London right now. If they managed, and they believed, the problem was the change of the London mayor. When Boris Johnson was the London mayor, they were so in with Boris Johnson. There's pictures of him all over the internet doing the silly crossed hammers, people doing all that. He was right in with Karen Brady. She's the Baroness. She's very close to them all and everything else. They'd agreed that we're going now. It would be losing money. Taxpayers would have to be footing the bill, and it would have been very easy for the government to turn around and say, we need to get this off of the public bill. There's no point in the public paying for this ground. That money could go better elsewhere. Let's sell it to West Ham on the cheap. I'm sure there were plenty of whatever backhanders going on at that point in time. Can't, confirm that, but I'm sure that had part to do with it, personally. And, the deal was struck. However, all of a sudden, the mayor changes. You have Sadiq Khan come in. Sadiq Khan will never, ever, all the time he's London mayor, let West Ham anywhere near ownership of that stadium. And he's made that absolutely clear.
Is it just because of an ego thing, Frankie?
Mate, do you know what it is? It's because it was absolutely the wrong deal in the first place and should never have happened. And as a West Ham fan, I can admit that. And Sadiq Khan's sitting there saying, I am not going to make you people rich off the back of the London taxpayer. And I half, as much as I can't stand Sadiq Khan and his policies and everything else, let's not go into politics, but, what he's done now, in theory, is right. He shouldn't be lining David Gold and David Sullivan's pockets with money by selling that stadium off cheap. And if there is a way that money can go back into, the London taxpayer, then that's what should happen. However, I don't think it will ever... And they've said it is bang in trouble in terms of finances. I don't think they'll ever be able to make it work. And in the end, I think they'll be suffocated into a position where they have no other option but to give it to David Gold and David Sullivan. And at that point in time, once they've got that ownership, that football club that they value at 900 million, which definitely isn't worth that at the moment, all of a sudden, overnight, is worth 900 million. And they make themselves very wealthy men off the back of it. They're very clever, mate. They may be bad football owners. They may be horrible people.
Oh, no, yeah, I know. But
they're
good business
very
people.
Shrewd people.
Yeah.
I don't even know if they're good business people. They stumbled across something. If good business people don't make silly deals like he did with Sebastian Haller and all those sorts of things. So I'm not sure. Some people in business, mate, just stumble across the right thing at the right time and end up doing well out of it. And don't get me wrong, they must have something about them to be where they are. However, times move on. And I think they've been left behind in terms of the modern world and what happens in the modern world. We've just seen it through the transfer window we've just had, mate. We're desperate for a striker. The manager clearly wants a striker. They didn't want to give him a striker. They see it as our investment's protected. We're sitting, 5th, 6th, whatever it is in the Premier League now. We don't need to buy anyone because if we end up finishing 15th, our investment is still hunky-dory, mate. So they're happy. We're not in a relegation battle. We're not going to get relegated. Job done.
I'm not a West Ham fan, but such a shame, really. We've, 5th now, Frank? You in 5th now?
We went into that Liverpool game with a chance of really making a statement. And when this transfer window opened, we could never have believed the position that we would be in the Premier League and playing the way that we are. And they promised us next level. Yeah. For the first time ever, while I wouldn't call it necessarily next level, I would say they are, the first time ever, they've got an opportunity of actually delivering a very high finish in the Premier League. And instead of making a statement and going and backing that and giving the manager what he needs to maintain this until the end of the season now, they have left us one injury away from a disaster and ending up mid-table. And it just shows you that when they promised us that they were selling our spiritual home, the place that we loved, to move into this soulless bowl, they promised us this next level thing. They promised us investment. They promised us marquee signings. They promised us all of these things. Well, they had an opportunity to prove that they meant what they said right now, and they didn't go and do it. And it's a shame, a big shame.
I did hear last night that it was more that they've given Moyes 20-30 million, and he didn't want to do anything. Is that right or not? For a striker.
This is the whole point. It's very easy for... Moyes is a yes man. So when David Moyes came in the first time round, he hadn't had another job in world football in 2 years. World football. He couldn't get a job anywhere in the world. Not in China, not in America, not in Europe. Couldn't get a job anywhere in football. We then give him a job, and he... barely, by the skin of his teeth, by somehow making Arnautovic a striker, got us out of trouble. At that point in time, he almost had the worst managerial record in West Ham's history. We then bring him back for a second time when he couldn't get a job in world football again.
Yeah.
We then bring him back and give him another crack at the whip. And let's be quite honest, mate, the coaching team that he has put around him is the best that this country can offer. The fact that he's got Stuart Pearce, the fact that he's got Nevin, the fact that he's got these people around him. I mean, we've got 5 top level coaches. Also with Kevin Nolan in there, who understands what West Ham are all about.
Yeah.
He has got an amazing team there, and I give him all the credit for what he's done. He's made us into a team that work hard. We're fit for the first time. I've not seen a West Ham side be fit in the last 6 or 7 years. We are suddenly fit. We run, we try, and we're together. And I can't knock that, and I'm enjoying every single bit of it. So, you know, the David Moyes thing, while I was a huge critic and felt like I still believe that without the people around him, he wouldn't be achieving what he's achieving.
Yeah.
But he has got them around him, so I can't moan and I can't comment. So, you know, we've got a platform but what's getting me, so Moyes came in as a yes man because he couldn't get another job in world football. So he comes in, they know anything that they say, Moyes has to take on the chin. So they've really now set him up for a fall by saying the reality isn't that money was there to spend and Moyes didn't want to. The reality is they highlighted players that they felt they could bring into the club, which are normally under one agent, same as Ben Rama's agent. All the players we sign are from the same agent because he's friends with our owners. They can bring those players in. I'm sure they were offered to David Moyes, and David Moyes went, I don't want them. However, when David Moyes says he wants a player, because it's not with the agent that they know and always use, they struggle to get those deals over the line. So there were a couple of strikers that we were linked with, couldn't get them over the line. There were times in the last window, he wanted Matty Cash, couldn't get it over the line. He wanted Eze, couldn't get it over the line. He always wants these players, they can't get it over the line. Now, I'm in a position where you should be now turning around and saying the best thing we could do, because David Moyes is on a short-term contract, is give David Moyes a contract, because he absolutely deserves a contract right now. There's no question about it. However, the worst thing that we could do right now is give David Moyes a contract, not because of his performance as manager, but because between him and the board, they clearly lock heads on the type of player and personnel that we should sign for West Ham United. And if it means that every time we want someone, we either don't get someone or we get someone that the manager doesn't want, eventually that's going to break down and will become a nightmare. And that's my fear.
Because I heard, Frank, that they showed Diagana behind his back and he was going to walk out. Is that true or not?
I don't think he was going to, again, he's never going to walk out when he couldn't get another job in world football for 2 years. At the end of the day, he's now being paid, you know, good money to manage West Ham United, a top Premier League club. And he was never going to turn his back on that because he probably didn't deserve that position in the first place. However, he has proven now that he did deserve it and he's done fantastically well. But yes, Diangana was sold against his will. However, that hasn't worked out too terribly. The problem that we've got is, where's the money gone? The money's disappeared into thin air. The Haller money, you know, all of the players that have been sold recently, the Ben Rama money was from last window, but now we've had to use it in this window, and now they're saying, well, that was the money that we've now spent. It's all skullduggery, mate. It's all smoke and mirrors. They're brilliant at pacifying the fans. The Jesse Lingard acquisition wasn't because they felt we've got too many personnel in that position already. We did not need Jesse Lingard. That is a player we absolutely didn't need. But because it's a big name, because he's a Man United player, because, you know, we can get him in on loan, let's bring him in. That might keep the fans happy and they won't be too upset that we haven't really made any proper signings in this window. That's all it was done for. And again, that's not a David Moyes player. Don't care what anyone says. Ben Rama
I thought
wasn't
that
a David
exactly.
Moyes player.
I thought exactly that.
They're David Sullivan signings, mate. Moyes has had to really try hard to find a place in the team for Ben Rama. He didn't play for the first 3 or 4 games. We then started to try and fit him in. We then tried to work him into the side. Now he's in the side. He don't even really look like a top Premiership player, to be quite honest with you. But he had the one thing going for you that you have to sign for West Ham United, and that is the agent that we deal with. And that's why he came to West Ham. It should have been Eze. Eze is the man that David Moyes wanted. If it wasn't for our owners, David Moyes would have signed Eze without a shadow of a doubt. And instead, we've ended up with Benrahma. Rightly or wrongly, who knows? I hope Benrahma works out to be the better player and goes from strength to strength and has a brilliant career at West Ham United. However, at the moment, he's got a long way to go.
Yeah. No, Cardiff were saying, you know, when Solskjaer went to Cardiff and manager, he brought in all the dead Norwegian players, all represented by the same agent, very similar. And we went from bottom end of the Premier League almost to League One. You know, a lot of brown envelopes do happen with agents and transfers, unfortunately.
We know it happens, mate. We know it happens. And that is the way of the world. And sometimes, mate, you don't mind a little bit of it going on, but I think we're far too... But the way we've behaved when we haven't used the right agents, the way we behave with trying to sign players on payments spread over 5 years, and the way we conduct ourselves, mate, and making silly offers to players. The player that West Ham really wanted, the striker in this window, was only valued at something like 12 or 13 million pounds. That's what they wanted. Apparently, we couldn't reach that amount. The fact that we sold our spiritual home, the fact that we was promised next level, and we're not even to sign a £12 million player, is a real problem.
Because you rent in that ground, and no fans can come in, is that rent dropping then? You know, because you don't have to pay out for security, you don't have to pay out for this, that, and the other. Is that rent actually dropping during this COVID period?
There is, I think West Ham's ticket revenue for the entire year works out to be about £4 million. So they will lose that money. However, predominantly, we all know that we're told time and time again, ticket money don't make any difference no more. We're always told how the fans are not as important anymore because TV is where all your money comes from. You know, the stadium's the one that's suffering because they actually benefit from the hospitality money. So they benefit from the food and drink sales of inside that stadium. So West Ham don't get that anyway. So we haven't lost out on that. You know, we have very minimal staff costs because our ticket office is predominantly run by Ticketmaster. We don't have the amount of personnel that you need in around a stadium, so we don't have that overhead. So West Ham United should be in a very, very strong position.
Yeah.
If you had any sort of ambition, we should have been in a position far better than most other Premier League clubs financially, and we should have been able to go and make a statement. And all the best business people in the world, mate, in times of adversity, they turn it into a positivity and an opportunity, and they go and make it happen. Don't get me wrong, you can still fail. I mean, Chelsea have tried. Chelsea knew that this season most teams would struggle to be able to invest. But Chelsea had the money, so they rolled the dice. Hasn't worked out for Chelsea. Happens. But there are certain sides, like Wolves, and it's not working out for Wolves again. Wolves spent money.
I know.
Had to clear out. They've gone and spent it again. It don't always work out. I do understand that. The Hilaire situation didn't work out. Felipe Anderson didn't work out. I can fully appreciate all of those things. And a bundle of money has been blown due to those acquisitions. But I put that down to their own fault, that Hilaire, if anyone actually knows what happened during that period when we signed him, there was about 4 strikers ahead of him who we actually wanted. One was Maxi Gomez, which would have been a bad move anyway. He was about our 5th choice striker. Well, if you can't get those first 4 over the line, which we tried, just typical West Ham, because the way we conduct our business, we can't get deals over the line. If you end up with your 5th choice striker, there is quite a big chance that it might not work out because it's not the man you wanted. It's not your 2nd man you wanted. It's not your 3rd man, 4th man. It's your 5th man you wanted. What chance have you got? It's, you know, we kind of end up with getting what we can get rather than actually scouting and looking at someone and thinking, do you know what?
I thought Hernandez would have done well for you guys, but
Again, I
You
mean,
know.
we played him up front on his own half the time. I mean, he's only a small man. He isn't a target man, and the way we used him as a striker was. I felt sorry for him half the time, mate, because we
Yeah,
played him as a lone
yeah,
striker. He was trying his best, but it was completely wrong. And yeah, I didn't blame him. You could see the frustration growing every single week when
yeah.
balls were just getting pumped up to him, and he was left up there on his own to try and run around and make something happen. I felt sorry for him, and it was frustrating to watch. So it should have, like you said, it should have been a good player for West Ham, but
Yeah.
we just didn't use him in the right way.
Okay. Souček. Uh, you like?
I'll be,
Rice as well. That
yeah,
partnership. Okay, take a Liverpool game out the equation, but that midfield partnership is bringing results. I think.
absolutely. I was critical of Souček at the beginning um, because while he has so many other attributes, a simple 5 yard pass he seems to struggle with a little bit. However, his presence, his energy, his work rate. I actually put the acquisition of Souček down to a lot of the reason why there was an attitude change in fitness levels and the amount people run on the football pitch when playing for West Ham United. I think he
Okay.
came in, people couldn't believe the ground he covered, and it then becomes very difficult for other people not to do the same. I
Yeah,
think the
yeah,
players
yeah.
around him was looking.
They don't want to be shown up.
Absolutely.
Basically.
And they see this man come in who's so fit and committed and runs and don't stop. And you look around and you that sometimes that becomes infectious and it rubs
Yeah,
off on other players. And I put a lot of that. It is down to the coaches. It is down to the fitness people. It's down to all of that. But Souček, mate, has got exactly the right attitude, the right mentality. And he has got he has taken to West Ham perfectly, and it is because he just gets West Ham. You actually don't have to be the greatest footballer in the world to be loved at
yeah,
West Ham.
yeah,
All you need, don't get me wrong, that he is a top level footballer. I mean, his presence in the air, his presence at getting into the box late and scoring goals is out of this world. I mean, the other night against Liverpool was the other side that you see to Souček. It is the side that worried me early on, that when you put the reins on him and you say to him, don't go past the halfway line, sit in and just do a job, you almost take something out of what he can offer to the
take
team.
half his
You
game
you
away.
take out, yeah, absolutely, mate. You take out
Yeah,
his half his game, and that was what frustrated me the other night. Is you've got Declan Rice in there who can do that job. Souček should have been allowed to go, but the pair of them had the shackles put on them against Liverpool, and it massively affected the way we played, and that was
yeah,
a shame. But Declan Rice, mate, his reading of the game, he gets better and better. He's going to mature more and more into a world class footballer. He's for someone so young to read the game. He's got such a mature head on his shoulders. He is gonna be a top level footballer, and people forget how young he is, mate, because he
yeah,
is still
yeah.
22. I mean, he's got a lot of years ahead of him, and he's only going to get better and better. So
How
it will
long can
be
you keep hold of him, Frank? You think?
not very long, mate. Not very long.
Yeah, yeah.
Not very long at all. I think the change at Chelsea's helped. I think
Helped.
we
Yeah,
all
yeah,
know
yeah.
Chelsea's the boyhood club. We all know that's the club he loves. Obviously, his best friend Mason Mount's there. I'm sure he'd love to play football with him. I think playing under Lampard was also a real sort of draw for Declan Rice, because
Yeah.
Lampard could turn around to Rice and say, look what I won with Chelsea, look at all the things I achieved, I also understand about playing for England. He could have put his arm around him, and I think he would have developed Rice into a real top
Yeah,
player.
yeah.
And actually Rice wanted to add more. He's always said, I want to add more goals to his game, I want to add more sort of ability to go forward and have an effect in the sort of final part of the pitch, as opposed to just being defensive. I don't
Okay.
think there could have been anyone better to teach that to him than Frank Lampard.
Well,
I think it would have
Lampard,
been
yeah,
perfect.
yeah.
So maybe that's helped us hold on to him longer than maybe we would have held on to him. I'm not sure he's a Tuchel type player. However, we've already now started to hear the other big clubs being mentioned, and there's no smoke without fire. So we've
Yeah.
heard Liverpool, we've heard Man United. Don't get me wrong, mate. I think he's enjoying this purple patch with West Ham United. However, he will have just looked at that window and thought, if you would have gone and made a marquee signing and you would have really shown your intent, you'd have had a half chance if we had got into Europe this year and the board had shown that they had some ambition. I think you'd have had half a chance of locking him down. However, because of how that window's just panned out, I think he'll be looking at again thinking, I need to go on to bigger and better things. And I think every single West Ham fan, and I mean every single West Ham fan, will respect when that comes along and he wants to move, will say, do you know what? That's what you deserve and good luck to you, as opposed to going the other way and hating him for moving on.
What? Do they respect Paul Ince then, man? No?
Mate, I never really totally understood that as a kid, and I never really got what he'd done wrong. But even then, I still hated him. And obviously, as you get a bit older, you start to understand it a little bit more. Do you know what? The one that's the big talking point is Frank Lampard. Because Lampard, because I remember it, that was when I really started to go football, in the Lampard, Joe Cole, Jermaine Defoe era. I remember us screaming when we got offered £7 million for Lampard, saying, just go, take the money. It's a fantastic offer. Take the £7 million and let's spend it somewhere else. I don't think there was a West Ham fan who wasn't saying that. We then hold on to him. He then gets offered £11 million and we're going, I can't believe we've been offered £11 million for him. Just give him, just let him go. So we all wanted him to go. He then does go. It's what he come out and said afterwards about West Ham and about Chelsea that I think rubbed the West Ham fans up the wrong way. However, he got so much stick. He gave a little bit of it back, and that's what really drove that hatred towards him. But, you look back at pictures, he was a proper West Ham boy. He, always loved West Ham as a kid, and he's always youngster pictures of him wearing West Ham kits and so on. He was a West Ham boy at heart, to be quite honest. So
he went on loan to Swansea, didn't he? And then he come back then, and they had that meeting, that infamous meeting where Harry Redknapp has a go back at that fan. And said, oh, look, this kid will go all the way to the top.
Yeah, and, I don't think any of the West Ham fans ever believed he would become quite the legend that he did and achieve everything that he achieved. I don't think any of us could have seen that coming from him. We knew he was dedicated. We knew he was committed. We knew that he was a good player, but I don't think we ever expected him to be a great player. But he certainly proved us all wrong.
But the right golden generation there. Lampard, Joe Cole, Ferdinand as well.
Yeah,
and
Claret.
Carrick,
He never gets spoke about. But
very underrated player, Carrick. Very underrated. Yeah,
he is the Declan Rice, the Surchek, the glue that sticks that whole team together and makes a side tick. He doesn't do the pretty stuff, but he does the donkey work, and they're the ones that are the unsung heroes, really.
Neil Ruddock? No.
Neil Ruddock. Mate, there were a few that come in late on in their career that worked. Nigel Winterburn. Nigel Winterburn was a good player for West Ham. Stuart Pearce, Ian Wright, Teddy Sheringham. We had a few of the boys who come in late. And there's a few boys that made come in late in their careers and done a job at West Ham. That kind of was what we used to do, and we loved an Arsenal sort of has been back in the day. That is what we loved to sign. But this Di Canio era, mate. Di Canio was the one. He was my most exciting time as a West Ham fan. Him and Dimitri Payet, the two of them, the two spells. Obviously, the Di Canio period was a lot longer than the Payet one. That was cut short, well too short. But those two players, Di Canio and Payet, by far the best players that I ever saw in a West Ham shirt.
Well, as a Cardiff fan, you guys ripped us off for the joint transfer of Danny Gabardon and James Collins. James Collins then went up the Ginger Pelly.
Yeah.
What, 3 million for both of them? Bloody hell, you could tell we were in financial.
But you say that, then that, don't get me wrong, that is a tough one to swallow. But when you look that we sold Lampard for 11, Defoe for 6, Joe Cole for 6, if you see the monies we actually got for that golden generation, mate, it's a travesty.
Yeah.
We have never managed, even Dimitri Payet, mate, went for peanuts. At that time, he was one of the best players in Europe.
Yeah.
I mean, he could have got in. His stats in terms of assists, chances created, was the top of the class in Europe, mate. He was unbelievable, and we got peanuts for him. Every time we've had a player that we should cash in on, we never get the right money, and it's a real shame, mate. A real shame.
No problem. Thank you very much, Frankie, for coming on, mate. I do apologise that you should have been on a long time ago. But no, I do like talking to you because we come from the same type of era, same background in watching football. Did you go to the League Cup game in Cardiff? I think Defoe had maybe 2 or 3 hat-tricks.
Yes, I did, yes.
Oh, yeah. Did you enjoy it when you're walking around to the train station or not?
Mate,
apparently
it was, like I said, mate, it was a very, very lively place to go. It was. I think there's some videos of the high street of that game as well. That was. I mean, there was nothing more exciting than going to Ninian Park because you remembered the documentary that come out and you'd seen that on the BBC. To be fair, the BBC have got a lot to answer for because they published a website where football lads talk to other football lads, and
that's
caused me to get involved in football.
What was it called? Oh, I can't remember. What it was
Terrace
called.
Links.
That's right. Yeah.
That was where I went on and then found West Ham guys to then go to my first game against Preston, and that is where my
I remember that
career, if you want to call it that, all stemmed from this is crazy, mate. That program that was supposed to be obviously showing it in bad light actually glorified it for me and gave me the desire to want to go on that website and start getting involved. So it was the good old days. The good old days, mate. The good old days.
No problem. Okay, guys in the chat, guys who are going to watch it later, we really here for Isla. A little girl needs your help. The banner is the PayPal. If you can give anything, much appreciated. Or just share the information out. This little girl needs everybody's help. Anyway, thank you very much, Frankie.
Just a quick one, mate, before one little plug that we haven't spoken about. Away Day Radio are doing a week for Isla. So they're doing a week for Isla. There's already Harry Redknapp's been involved. We've already seen some real big celebrities getting involved with that. Me and Baz have got a show on the 13th of February. 12 until 2. We've got Frankie McAvenny already lined up for that show. We'll be having a chat with him, who I'm named after. That's my namesake. I'm named after Frankie McAvenny.
I did put the video, McAvenny and Cotty, the partnership, didn't I, a few weeks back?
You did. So I'm named after. I'll be talking to my namesake, which I'm really looking forward to. However, that whole weekend on Away Day Radio, it's an online radio channel. So the only way that you can listen to it is by going to awaydayradio.co.uk, and on there they're going to have loads of interviews with some fantastic celebrities, some real good names, some football legends are going to be coming on there as well. They've got loads of raffles, prizes, not just from West Ham, but from all clubs. There's going to be so much to get yourself involved in. It's going to be a crazy weekend, and hopefully we can do loads of fundraising for Isla. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. So not just that, though, mate, but the radio channel itself has fantastic music on there, loads of football shows on a Saturday morning. It's absolutely superb. So if you like football and you like good music, head over to Away Day Radio, get involved over there, and let's have a big weekend for Isla on there. And if you want to jump in on that show on that Saturday, mate, jump in with us, because that'll be welcome.
No problem. I'd love to, mate. I'd be able to put the link to Away Day Radio.
Absolutely, yeah.
I'll do that. No problem at all, mate.
Hero, mate.
Cheers, Frank. And we'll try and get Baz on next week, maybe.
Sounds good.
Okay, thank you very much, mate. You take care and enjoy the rest of the evening.
Cheers, mate.